Hey everybody, I'm Zee Garcia. Today we are going to be druids trying to heal the forest in Nemeton. In this game, each of the druids is going to be collecting plants from the forest, growing that forest, and then using those to brew potions to invoke animal spirits in order to, again, heal the forest and get the most victory points at the end of the game. There's quite a bit going on in the game here, but it's basically a tile-laying resource management affair. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. We'll come on back after that. I'll tell you what I think of it. Here's what the game looks like set up. Each player is going to have one of these druids in front of them, and they are going to get the matching druid pawn. They are going to get a few tokens, and then we've also got the central board here with some goals to be achieved, some animal spirits along the bottom, and then some potions that the players can brew in the game for victory points. You are all trying to heal the forest, and whoever gets the most points at the end of the game is going to be the winner. So, the players are each going to go through 4 phases, and then the next player would take their 4 phases. You have a stack of tiles here in front of you. A few at the top are random. The other ones are all part of your own deck, but again, they're shuffled. And so you begin at night, then you do the dawn, day, and dusk phase. So during the night phase, you are going to take the top tile from your stack, that's the moon represented on the back, and you are going to add it somewhere onto the forest here. And it's going to cast moonlight in straight lines leading from this tile. Anything that matches, no matter how far away it is going to be illuminated, and therefore it will the plants will grow. So for example, if I put this tile here, we have stone there and we have stone there. So the moonlight shines to there, and as long as the tile is empty, it's going to get the matching leaf there. And then this one over here, and anything along the way also gets filled. Yellow and any color I want to. So I'll go ahead and put a blue one there. And then that's it for the night phase, all right? Then we go to the dawn phase, in which I take this tile, I flip it over. If it tells me to add a specific tile around it, I will do so now. In this case, a tree. So it must go next to it, so here or here. I'll flip that over, and I will put one of the trees on that tile. The druid at the beginning of the game begins on that first moon tile, and that's it for the dawn phase. Now I do the day phase, in which I am going to move my druid, and I'm going to collect different resources, possibly go over here and complete potions, possibly reserve one of these cards, maybe get some animal spirits, all sorts of things. So my druid can move 1 or 2 spaces in a straight line, collecting everything I go over. So I could go 1, 2, collect both of these, and put them down here on my track. I can have up to 8 resources collected on my board, all right? If I end up where there is a tree, I can either trade 2 things for one other one from the pool, or I can reserve one of these cards to be completed later. Some of the other things that will show up in the game are these places of power. And so again, you would put one of those there. And when you do that, if I end up there, I can complete one of these spells by returning the matching resources and taking the spell. And then I am also going to either renew one of these movement tokens or get one of these glyphs down here. Those are for victory points also. Or if I end up at one of these waterfalls, I'll put one up here for right now. And I would put a waterfall on it, just as a way to remind me what's there. If I end up there, then I can appeal to the animal spirits, and I could again take either these 2 or these 2 by paying the correct leaves. I would put them in the matching resource spots over here on my board, and then these 2 would slide down and replenish those spots, and from the bag I would draw more and replenish these spots here. The animals are going to give me victory points at the end of the game, as well as in-game special abilities, which I could flip these over to trigger, all right? So for example, I'll just explain one of them, the stag here. If I flip over the stag, I can either buy one of these 2 cards as well, or I could appeal to this line of animals, and if I pay all 3 of those colors, I could take all 3 of those animals. That's what the stag lets me do, and I would again flip it over to do that power. I'll still score it, but I've used the power in game. Finally, during the night phase, I am going to replenish animals if I need to. I am going to replenish spells if any of them have been purchased, like this. And I would see if I qualify for any of these goals. So for example, this one here says if I have 2 spells that have the same value, I would take that. I'll take my token, one of them, I would put it there, and if I'm the first person to do so, I also get this into my supply. I'll get victory points for these at the end of the game. 1 point, 2, 3, and 4 points at the end of the game again. This is all going to continue until we've spent all of our tiles. We've grown the forest quite a bit by then. We are also going to, whenever we go to one of these places of power, we're going to mark that we've been there. Again, just for some of these goals. This one, for example, expects you to go to 2 waterfalls and 2 of these stony places of power. So if you've done that and you would mark it to remind yourself you've done it, then I could get that bonus. Once we've run out our decks of tiles there, we'll finish up the game and we're going to score victory points. They come from animals. You want to have different ones. You'll score victory points for your spells over here and for some leftover resources, things like that. Whoever's got the most points at the end of the game is going to be the winner. That's a general overview of how the whole thing goes. Play out new tiles, have the moonlight shine and repopulate the resources, move around and gather resources, spend them for appropriate things. The 2 movement tiles, which I haven't talked about, let you do 2 different things. This one lets you move an extra step in a straight line. And so I could, if I was here, I could go 1, 2, and 3. And then this one lets you turn instead of going in a straight line. So if I spend that one, I could go 1 and 2. You could even combine them to move 3 times and turn once in that movement. And when I go to one of these places, either the waterfalls or these stony places, I can either take one of the bonus tokens, which again are victory points, or regain one of my spent movement tokens. If I really want this back, I might do that instead. So there you go. Let's go back up top. Let me tell you what I think of it. So there you go. That's Nemeton. Let's talk about this. I'll start with the things I thought were just all right. The ease of play is a little tricky. There's a lot of little rules in this game. It's going to take you a play or two to internalize how everything sort of works. The moonlight casting thing can be a little tricky. What it casts over, also replenishing, things like that. The just replenishing and sort of all the animal powers that are in play. There's a lot to, again, learn, internalize, understand. The aesthetics also are a little dark overall. The printing is just a little dark. Now, I like the bits. The components in the game look good, but overall, they're a little backing off a little bit on the darkness of everything. I don't mean thematically, of course. I'm talking about actual ink here. Would have helped the usability just a little bit, but that's minor, really. Everything else I liked in the game. The theme I like. It's fantasy, yes, but it's very specific fantasy. It's not generic. I like the whole druid thing. I like the healing the forest tropes. It all works together very well. The animal spirits and them helping you, giving you special powers. I like that. I like the replayability. The game allows for a lot of puzzly moments of clever play, and that's big for me. I like games that allow you to have moments of clever play. And with the moving parts here, you are definitely going to be able to do that. You could have a great turn in which you put the moonlight somewhere specific that grows things in your way. You then spend your movement ability to do a real cool move and brew a potion. You could even brew one during the same turn from the ones you've reserved and one from the board. That's the only way you get to do 2 at the same time. So that would be an epic turn. And this game allows for those moments, for really clever play. I like that very much. The length is good. The game lists 75 minutes, and for once, I think that's right. 75 minutes is about what you're going to spend on this, and it feels good. It's going to give you a lot of... It's not going to outstay its welcome, but it'll give you plenty of forest that will grow and lots of, different abilities you can ebb and flow in the game. Lots of different abilities you can trigger. And then lastly, the game just has fun tactics and a lot of paths to victory. You can focus on the animals. They'll in turn give you points, but also special powers. You can just try to brew a lot in the game. you can mess with the other players a little bit. Make sure nothing, spawns near them. There's even an action in the game in which if you walk by someone else, you'll be able to take one of their leaves and give them one in return, except for the very first one on your board, which you can lock into place. So there's that. You could do that as well. I didn't see that happen too much in my plays, but it could be done. So again, nice paths to victory. Not overwhelming. That's more in the ease of play part, but interesting and clever. So this is a really solid game, one that continues to impress. It's definitely growing on me, this one. Nemeton is one that kind of came out of nowhere for me to really impress me, and it's going to get a very strong seal of approval from me. So there you go. I definitely recommend you check this out if you like all of these interlocking parts, if you're a fan of tile laying with a little something extra and some clever new or pretty new ideas, in my opinion. So again, seal of approval from me. Check this one out. Thanks for checking this out with me, folks. I'm Zee Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com.